now I'm back. You're good. Now I'm back and ready to see this through to completion. And I do appreciate how kind everyone was in sending Colonel Swenson off with a nice bit of fanfare that he deserved. Well, so to update you on where some of our numbers are, we've got about 15 debris removal crews working in the Palisades fire area. And honestly, most of the work right now is in the Palisades itself. And then you'll see some additional tree crews around as well. Many of the crews, as you're driving up Sunset, and then maybe if you find yourself on Tremonto as well, we have quite a few crews working in that corridor right now. So I know it's rather congested, but they're working on the West Side Waldorf, where that Thai restaurant used to be, right over by Vaughn's there. And then as you go up Los Leones and up to Tremonto, we're working on the multi-unit there on Tremonto and a couple of the properties on Tremonto. I guess I'll call it Upper Tremonto, the steeper properties up there. So that's a pretty congested area. I would say if you don't need to go through there, maybe avoid it, but just a few more days and we'll be done with most of that work. So we're down to really, it's about our last 150 properties that we're really focused on here in the Palisades. Some of that is multi-unit, so individual properties are even less, kind of down to about 100. And so that's why you see just those 15 crews of the contractor working. Hard to give an exact amount of time, what that equates to, but I'll say by Labor Day, I really do expect for the Army Corps to have a very small footprint remaining. Give or take a couple weeks, but we're looking at our final 4 to 6 week push here, and by Labor Day, I would say there won't be a lot of us left, although there will be some. Because there's some longer lead, and we'll talk about that in a minute. About 1.1 million tons of debris to landfills from the Palisades fire area, so pretty significant, although the pace of that obviously is slowing as well. Interesting properties left. Some of the steeper properties that we've had to bring special equipment in for, you'll see a lot of our crews working on ropes and harnesses right now because of how steep the properties are. And when that happens, often it's by hand. And so we have large bags. We call them super sacks. The crews fill them by hand because the excavators just can't safely reach to some of the locations. So it will take a few of these properties a week, maybe even 2 weeks to be cleared, even with 2 crews working on them, just because of the challenges, but that's okay. The goal is debris removal for all of the opt-in properties that we're given, and we'll make sure that we accomplish that on each of the properties. Temescal Canyon Road, I know that's one of a lot of interest to folks as well. So as many of you, I'm sure, remember, Temescal Canyon Road had our temporary debris staging area set up. That's been shut down now for several weeks. And as a matter of fact, there's a new layer of asphalt down. So the contractor restored that road to pre-fire condition or pre-use of the staging area condition. I was out there yesterday. Nice fresh layer of asphalt. They did some work on the base as well. And so the only thing that remains is for that layer of asphalt to cure, and then they'll put the striping down, all the reflective material and everything, get one last inspection from the city, and then turn it back over to the city. I would estimate in early August that will be turned back over to the city for use. So we know that was a big concern for the school year coming up. And so I think early August, I think we meet that need for the community pretty well by getting that turned back over in early August as well. And then my last planned update, but I'm happy to take any questions. We received, some folks opted out, and of those opt-outs, some weren't, and some were non-responsive, right? At the beginning of this, some properties we never actually heard from, or the county never heard from. The county and the city have now gone through their process of determining who they were going to force into the Army Corps program for debris removal. We have the first draft of that list. We're waiting for some direction from FEMA, but in that list, there are some PCH properties. So you will see us back out on PCH. It's mostly the mountainside, but again, and I see John Yang on here, will be working closely with CalTrans. So you will see some lane restrictions or some lane closures as we finish up those last properties that we're responsible for on PCH over the next several weeks. Those are my planned updates, Miriam. If I didn't hit anything that you're interested in, let me know, and I'm happy to take questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You always give us robust updates, and we appreciate it. And your forward motion has been incredible from the beginning, and it continues to this day. So as you know, we're all quite grateful. I did want to say I reached out to CHP because we still see them on PCH. So I have learned from CHP over the course of the last few months that they have 12 officers and 2 sergeants that are supposed to be up in the Palisades assisting LAPD, which is great. But we also see them and we hear that they're doing a lot of pretty aggressive traffic enforcement along PCH. So I had a chance to talk to a colonel yesterday, Colonel Geller. And my question for him was, given the fact that the Army Corps is done with PCH, why is the speed limit still reduced to 25, like a construction zone? And so why are people getting tickets for doing more than 25? I understand safety, but arguably 35 on PCH is not counter to safety. As a matter of fact, he said, talk to the Army Corps and talk to CalTrans and talk to the city. If there isn't work going on PCH anymore, that reduced speed limit might actually be increased again. But now that you're telling me you might actually have a handful of properties still left, that might explain why that speed limit is still reduced. So I'll chase that down, but thank you for that update. I appreciate it. Do you have an idea how many more properties are going to be handed to you through this abatement process in the town? Like just throughout the Palisades?
Specifically in the Palisade, I'll say LA City, there were between 30 and 40. It's a weird process. I hate to give a squishy answer, but it's in the 30 to 40 range, depending on how FEMA determines some eligibility. So it's really just a handful as you look at that throughout the Pacific Palisades area.
Wow. And that you said that was the first draft. Does that mean there's a draft 2 with more properties that they're able to reach, or this is it?
No, I get what I mean by that is the county has given FEMA their entire list, and FEMA does have a process to go through to ensure each of the things on the list are indeed eligible under the PPDR program. So
the county's list will not change.
The county's list, I don't expect to change. That's right.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'm happy to take any other questions. I know we have LAPD on the call, which is super important, but John Yang, I wonder if you want to add anything to what Colonel Palazzini said, because their work impacts you as much as it does.
Thanks, Colonel. And actually, it was Lieutenant Geller that talked to you.
Yeah.
And he did speak to me this morning. The restriction in the city of LA side actually came from LAPD, LADOT, and LAEMD. So we were just executing what they requested because they also have checkpoints that they were planning. I don't know whether they're still existing or not, but these reductions were coordination with the city. So CalTrans cannot unilaterally drop them. And as you heard, there's still construction going on up on the hill, and it's going to be a joint decision regarding the speed limit. So from our side, we continuously to work with everybody. That's all we have. So.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, he did leave a message this morning that ultimately it's going to be a joint command thing and the city will lead the way. All right, if any other questions for Colonel, I know he can't stay the entire time. Hopefully you'll stay for as long as you can, but we'll give the floor to Captain Gabaldon if that's okay with everybody. Okay, great. Captain Gabaldon, welcome. Thanks for making the time.
Hi, Miriam. It's good to see you guys. I know we had some problems meeting last week. Got a lot going on here at the station. One of our sergeants was hit on the freeway about 3 weeks ago and killed. So we've been dealing with that. His funeral is next Thursday, and we had a fundraiser yesterday, and we had a great turnout. So thank you all, community members and fellow law enforcement agencies who participated. As far as the Palisades is going, I actually have my detective CO here, Lieutenant Armando Arenas, and we have Brian Espen is also on the line, so they're available to answer any questions. But crime-wise, we're looking very good. We're still getting, like you said,
Sammy said yes.
we're still getting the 2 and 12 CHP officers that are up there in their 2 shifts. We're putting up there 1 and 10, which includes our A1 car. We're still getting the 4 units from outside divisions within the Bureau. And we still have the private security who's doing a fantastic job. Good communication. We're still doing our roll calls in the morning. And then we're doing one roll call at around 10 o'clock in different locations within Pacific Palisades. If anyone has some feedback, like I know Marianne, you've given us quite a few locations you'd like us to do it. If anyone would like us to go to a particular location, let me know. We're going to be building out the August calendar here, probably within a week when Sergeant Alpert gets back, so we can put some locations, or we can just have them around the stop-in center, which the feedback I've got, Mariam, has been very positive from the officers. They really like it. We got that desk that you arranged. It's here at the station. We just got to make arrangements to take it out there probably this weekend with the senior lead officers, and we'll put that together.
You are amazing.
Like I said, crime-wise, I have had a few break-ins. We have had a couple thefts that are going on. I'm going to let Lieutenant Arenas talk a little bit about that. I know we had, I think it was 2 or 3 on one particular street, and then we ended up arresting the suspects over on PCH, which is right in the area. And then yesterday we had, the last couple of days, we've had some reports. We got a good vehicle description, possible suspects committing some thefts in the area, stealing tools that basically they're going and looking around for construction workers who are working, on the site but aren't locking their cars, and they're going in real quick and stealing construction tools that are in. But we got some good leads. Armando, you got anything more to say about that?
Yeah, no, just good morning, everyone. Lieutenant Armando Arenas. I oversee detectives here at West LA Division. Just the crimes that Captain Gabalden were talking about. We did have 3 crimes that occurred on the same street that happened on Bollinger Drive. That happened June 30th. They were reported different dates when they were discovered, but our investigation revealed that they happened on or about the same date and time. Related to those 3 incidents on Bollinger Street on PCH on July 1st, we made 1 arrest involving a male and female Hispanic in a pickup truck that, based on the MO, we believe are related to the Bollinger Drive crimes. We're still waiting for forensics to come back on those 3 other incidents to see if we could directly connect them, or maybe any other witnesses that might have seen them at scene. And we'll be able to see if we can connect them to those crimes. Captain Gabalden also spoke about a couple of thefts that we have, where we have construction workers working on houses, and these thieves come and they notice that their construction trucks are open and they have tools, so they're taking stuff. We have a good plate on that car, good vehicle description. In fact, we're working on possibly tracking those guys down very soon. So hopefully we could tie them down to other thefts in the Palisades. But other than that, like Captain Gabalden said, we're doing pretty good with the deployment out there and the response to any reports of crime. So hopefully we continue in that path.
The one good thing is, when we made that arrest, we didn't see any more burglaries in that area. So that's why we think that those suspects are responsible for those other 3, because they stopped altogether. And with the thefts, if you guys could get the word out, I don't know if you have private contractors or if there's a way to communicate to them that please just lock their cars and their trucks and their toolboxes. I know it's a pain when you have to go get a drill and you come back and you have to unlock your toolbox and go get them and then go back to the construction site back and forth. But that's really is a deterrent. We've seen some, we had some gardening thefts where it was the same thing. Gardeners be working and they have stuff in their back of their truck, and these guys would drive up and take whatever in their truck and then just drive away. So we're going to see kind of more of that as the construction starts to ramp up. So if we can get kind of in the mindset right now of locking that stuff and securing it and being as secure as we can, I think that's going to help it out. I spoke yesterday at with the chief I spoke to the deputy chief, I spoke to the assistant chief, and moving forward, it seems like we're going to have the same footprint for a while. I was a little worried that because there hasn't been that much crime that they might want to reduce, but he didn't give me that indication that it was going to be. So we're going to keep going with the pattern that we have. I want to turn it over to Senior Lead Officer Espen, who's back from vacation. He's joining us. I know he's on the road, but Brian, anything you want to add? What's been going on or stuff you've been seeing up in the Palisades?
No, how you doing, guys? Morning. Sorry, I'm driving on the road up north right now. You guys hit it on the nail. The big thing that we're seeing is just the construction tools thefts. But then I'm also getting some messaging from some residents of people kind of taking small miscellaneous things on their property. So whether it be rocks, cobblestone, plants. I've seen a couple of people email me saying that some of their plants on their property has been removed. So not sure if it's other neighboring construction companies taking their stuff and then using it for other properties. But that's the messaging that I'm being passing out next to the crime Palisades update I do. As well as that, not too much. Everybody's still keep an eye on each other. I did mention in my last update to the Palisades is I do need people. If you are not living in your house or you're going to be away for an extended time, please have someone check on your property as much as possible, whether it's weekly, just to make sure that nobody goes in there either squatting or taking those little small miscellaneous items, but then also it gives that appearance that someone's there. So just pass the word around. Just if you're not living at your property or going to be gone for an extended time, just make sure that you have somebody checking on it as periodically as possible. That's all I got.
Thanks,
Okay,
Brian.
thank you. Thanks to all of you. Captain Gabalden, the Bollinger thefts, they were homestanding, right? It was homestanding that didn't have a camera. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
as we go out there and tell people to, and I want to acknowledge Sam Lagana is on the call. A couple of months ago, he said, we should flag for LAPD that going forward, the lion's share of crimes are going to have to do with construction. And I think he's right. So obviously,
he's right.
As construction picks up, people are going to realize that they can swing through town and, pick up materials or construction tools. So something to be mindful of. But as we go out there and we spread the message throughout the community that your construction contractors should be locking their doors, would it be helpful if we told people whose homes are not occupied to have some sort of camera system?
I mean, that would be great. We call it hardening the target. Anything you can put up, whether it's a sign that says they're being monitored or it's actual cameras that can do it. I mean, that would help. That would have helped in this case here because it was a male and a female, which is a little bit unusual. So if we would have just seen, a male and female on the property, it wouldn't have mattered if they were masked or not. That would have been enough to link them and actually file those cases instead of pending for investigation.
Okay, and then I know you had 50 cameras up. You had I think they were license plate readers, right? Or were they tilt and zoom? Okay. Are they still up? And I know that there was an organization, Brian, you told us about this a couple of months ago when we first started these calls, LVT or anyway, that was going to give, I want to say 25 or 20 cameras. We had a conversation with them. I don't know that they're still at the table, but I did want to ask, are those 50 cameras still up and running? And is the camera program still something that's being funded?
Yeah, so I got a couple of emails. I think it was a few days ago. There were some rumors going around that those cameras are going to be pulled. I checked with their ITD, and they said they're funded through the end of September. So basically, Flock gave us the cameras. They're letting us access to them. Eventually, they want to make some money, so they want to transfer the cost and go from it being free to like, hey, do you want to keep these cameras? We want you to pay for it. I think we'll get there eventually, but I know that the city or whatever arrangement the city has with them, whether they are giving them some money or it's just completely voluntary, they're still going to be there through the end of September. And then maybe might reach out to the homeowners association and see if you guys want to pick up that bill or if you don't, maybe they'll take them down. I don't know, but we have them through the end of September, so I think we're good.
That's great guidance. Thank you. And then I also wanted to say, so yes, I can say safely that at least a handful of people on this call were wondering if if crime numbers weren't ticking up would LAPD continue to have the formation that it has through the 4 sectors? And so I'm happy to hear that for now it's still in place. So we appreciate it. And I do think you guys being here is the reason we don't have an uptick. So we're all grateful for that.
I'm just worried, like you said, Marianne, that once the construction, well, we're going to show low crime numbers, and then they're going to say, okay, well, you got to need all these resources there because it's not justified, and then the construction is going to kick off, and the number is going to spike. It's harder to get them back once they're there. So I'm just hoping they leave them in place until we get some of the construction going. Then we get more of an accurate number of thefts and other types of crimes that are going on.
Well, and that's that's kind of a good caution to the community as we advocate. That's what we should be advocating for with the city. We should make sure they realize that, we have a duration of construction coming up that's going to make us more vulnerable than we are now. And so they should really hang in there until that comes to pass. Okay, so Colonel Palazzini left, just so you all know. He said thank you and goodbye. And Jim, your hand is up. What's up? You're still mute though. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. We're talking about digital cameras on the city side. Has anybody looked into the camera system situation on the resident side, particularly Wi-Fi connectivity? I've been working with my group up on Chautauqua area to get their Ring cameras back up so that they can be recording. We've coordinated with Pali Patrol so that we have them responding, but a lot of people are back and forth whether or not they have Frontier or Spectrum Wi-Fi capability to support their security cameras so that they can keep eyes on and record on their own property, and then they can notify LAPD or security company. So does anybody have any intel as to whether or not the Wi-Fi capabilities are back, or if they're going to be months away? Because the last time I talked with Spectrum, they were talking in terms of months to recover those burned cables. No one's got.
I'm from the police side. That's a private entity. We don't know when it's going to be back. I mean, it'd be great, so we get those Wi-Fi's, we get those cameras back up on the personal residence, especially if they can record. We really need that, but it's kind of just wait and see on our part.
Okay. Ring the company themselves.
Jim, I have an answer for you. I'm sorry, I can't put it on. Hi, everybody.
Sam, what happened? We can't hear you.
I'm in a car. Can you hear me now?
Okay, better now. Go ahead.
Thanks. They are pulling a new line. They're pulling new lines. Spectrum is through the ground. So they're pulling a new main line to have higher efficiencies. They're working on Lower Lockman via San Ynez, trying to get their main pole in. I spoke with them earlier this week, and they have quite a project going because they're trying to re-pull all of their cabling for more efficiency. So they're working on that. And then I spoke with Frontier, and Frontier is running fiber optic lines now. And so they're trying to get the phone services back, where a lot of our town did not have fiber optic. It was running off of copper. And particularly the older parts of town, anything in the 1940s, which is a lot of our town. But stuff that really didn't have, this is going to be interesting, but the stuff that did not have telephone poles where they were able to run fiber optic, anything that was underground, they were unable to. Now, with a lot of the homes burned out, they're able to make the poles through the underground lines using the easements. And so that's what Frontier has told me they're doing, just to give you a heads up. And I hope that's helpful, Jim.
Yeah, that's good intel. For those of you guys know, I'm now appointed the director of the long-term recovery group, and part of my concern is as we move into phase 3, we're losing Army Corps of Engineers. City of LA and LAPD may have to start reallocating their assets for security elsewhere. We really want to encourage the community members to start being more self-reliant If the LAPD's cameras and we love to see those 5 squad cars out there. I get really positive reaction from people coming into the Legion Center. As much as no one wants to get speeding tickets from CHP, their presence is important. But when that presence starts to diminish, we really want to be encouraging our community members to rely on Ring cameras, to rely on security systems, and to get that sense of confidence and security
Okay, so
moved on to ourselves.
yeah, it looks like Robert Gold, your hand is up, so go for it. But he dropped something in the chat, cameras that work on solar and cellular, $50. And also, I do want to say the council office has been working on getting connectivity to every pocket of the Palisades because they also realize it's important. So, Robert.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks everybody being here as always. And following up on Jim's comment. So I'm co-president of Marcus Knowles Property Owners Association, and we've been talking amongst the community and to some of the private security companies as to what else can be done
Mhm.
as this time is going to approach us at some point and to be up and running. And so, to the professionals on the call, because I'm not a professional, a lot of talk is, hiring a armed patrol, private patrol. Is there a lot of benefit? And then people say there's some benefit to that. There's not much benefit for that. What other things, technologies, et cetera, do you recommend? I think you've seen that ACS has put up 2 cameras in Marquez Knolls um, at their cost at the moment, and not charging the community. So any feedback that the professionals could give us, that'd be awesome.
I think he's talking about camera feedback. Captain Gabaldon, are you going to say?
Not whatever else they recommend. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the private patrols, armed patrols, I mean, they're great. They're an extra layer. They're a good first responder. Back when we only had one A car up there, I mean, they were basically our eyes and ears for that whole area, that 26 square miles of Pacific Palisades. It was extra patrol. That's why I think crime was so low up there, is because they had those to supplement us. I mean, everyone's using them. Bel Air area, Brentwood, they're all moving to that area. Cheviot Hills is talking about, some more, adding more private patrol. Just if you look at the sheer police numbers that we have here, we're down to 8,400 officers. That's the same amount that we had in October of 1995 with 1 million less people.
Wow.
So, and we're anticipating losing about 300 more this next fiscal year just because of budgetary issues and just not being able to hire it as fast as we like, losing officers to other agencies. So we're not getting any bigger. Any extra patrol that we can have that they can help us out is great. Cameras are great, like I said, especially if they have the ability to record.
Mhm.
That's something we need. That's our detectives need it because, like I said, we can't respond to all. We'll respond, but these burglaries and thefts are so hard because they happen so fast. They're in and out. And, unless the officers are like right around the corner or they get a tip from the neighbor that something's going on, they're difficult to catch. Where we catch them is in the follow-up investigation, with forensics, with video cameras, DNA that's left at the scene. And the cameras are the first step. We can use stuff like facial recognition in certain cases where we've been able to identify suspects. So all of it's great. And it all just comes down to budget and what the individual homeowners or the homeowners association wants to pay for.
Okay, I want to say we have CHP Officer Sturgis on the call. Thank you for joining us. I know that you guys are up in the streets. As John Yang said, I got to speak to Colonel Geller yesterday, and he did say that there's still 12 officers, 2 sergeants. I think it's 2 shifts, and you're not just on PCH, you're up in the streets, so you must be seeing, much of what we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you. Sam, I see your hand up. Do you want to wait till after Officer Sturgis, and then we'll take your question? Yeah, I'm sure he's okay with it. All right, welcome, Officer Sturgis. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So Lieutenant Geller spoke to me this morning about this meeting, and the information he provided me is pretty much what has already been discussed. We have the 12 officers and 2 sergeants with the 2 shifts, like you had spoken about. And as far as what we're seeing in the streets, we're still finding things like DUI in the streets. Haven't made a post yet, but they did arrest a dump truck driver for DUI. and he was fully loaded. So driving around with a vehicle like that, that can cause a lot of damage, especially as a drunk driver. So that is something we're looking for on city streets as well. That's a big thing we focus on is DUI. And then I wanted to touch on that speed limit thing real quick. I saw it was in the chat. So the speed limit request needs to be made through the Joint Command Post is what Lieutenant Geller told me. And he said the city can make that request for the change. He told me CalTrans was not opposed to it either. And he told me he was talking about an area north of Sunset, I believe, with changing the speed limit. He said there's still work being done in Malibu. And so it might change everywhere, but they did mention raising the speed limit closer to the Palisades.
Well, I think that makes sense to most of us. I appreciate it. I mean, this was having Colonel Palazzini on this morning to tell us that the abatement process has handed them a list of properties along PCH, so they might be back to PCH was interesting, but he also noted that that would be in Malibu. So it does sound like north of Sunset could potentially go back to ordinary traffic. And I don't think Palisadians are asking to speed, but the reality is people are kind of going back up to their normal speeds, and that seems to be snagging them. And I think there's some question. I think somebody just dropped it in the chat as well. There's some question as to whether or not speed limits can go back to normal, or at least inch up a little bit along that corridor, north of PCH. So Court, you must not be able to talk. He drops into the chat, would like to revisit PCH cones, the lanes being blocked off, raising speed limits and returning PCH back to its original condition. So Officer Sturgis, the cones are CalTrans, right? John Yang, you can answer this too, but
it's Court. I'm here. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I'm just thinking between McClure Tunnel and Sunset, if not Topanga, there are no homes there to be cleared. There's 0 residential projects that have to be cleared in that area. I would say the only thing that would require some caution would be when we clear the mobile home park down at the bottom, which is yet to be cleared, right? So hopefully that's on a list to get done in the next couple of months. I think there's one mobile home park that still has not been cleared. Right. But from McClure Tunnel up to Sunset, if not Topanga, is kind of free going. I travel it often, and every day people are starting to move back to their homes. And all I hear from local residents up in the Highlands and the Castellamar area is how painful it is to get back home. That people are getting pulled over for minor infractions, which of course the CHP has every right to do, and we're glad they're there, to be honest, but it's making it very difficult. And my fear is that when schools are actually back on end of August, early September, if we don't have lanes opened and speed limits at least to some normalcy of maybe 35 miles an hour, I don't think anybody needs to go 50 here, but some kind of opened up area and the cones being moved, it's going to be very painful.
So this is John Yang. Let me kind of address this.
Thank you.
First of all, what you guys are talking about is south of Sunset, not north of Sunset. So north of Sunset, there are many, there's many activity, SCE, and we have CalTrans have Seawall. We have a lot of work going on. So if it's south of Sunset, City of LA, basically LAPD, LADOT, and LAEMD are the one that telling us they want to match the corridor for 25 miles per hour. And that was due to the unknown at that time for the checkpoints. And actually, I did work with Lupe from DOT regarding some cone settings. So these are requests from the city. And I understand on south of Sunset, their activities mainly driven by USACE and also TWP and some of the DOT work. So if the city jointly ask us to look at it and reduce the speed, we're not going to touch anything north of Sunset. That has to be 25 because, to be honest with you, there's advantage of limiting 25 because people are doing 35 and more.
No, understood. And I get that.
If we raise to 35 at Malibu, that will be 50, and we can't deal with that. So
no, we meant.
No, we get that. I think we're mostly talking about Sunset and south through McClure. Yeah, because that's the access point into the Highlands, and that's the access point up into Upper Marquez and the Castellamar area, and the access point for the schools, Sunset and south. So right. So that's.
So I understand. And then please raise a concern to city because I think it's more than PD. There's DOT and there's all EMD. So if they jointly send a request to us, we definitely will look at it and we definitely will work with them to regardless it's cone or speed limit or whatnot, we will look at it. So
Okay.
Amazing.
So
Amazing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Court. And we still have Captain Gabaldan. John Yang, a clarifying question. So we're talking about two things, the cones, so the formation of the lanes, and then the speeds. So speeds, as Court says, they don't even have to go back to their original, up to like 35 might even be some relief for people. And then the cones is a different issue, is, whether or not you think that there's, slope slippage. Is that why some of those lanes on PCH are closed? Are these two different asks? And Captain Gabaldan, if we come to you and say, what do you think of PCH speeds south of Sunset going back up to like the 35 or the 40 that might be a little more normal for people? Is that something you'd support?
I think that question would be better off answered by CHP because that's a California highway. They do the main
They're there.
patrol over there. And we do enforcement there, but that's kind of their bread and butter there. And they respond to any traffic accidents that are there. They do DUI patrols there, so I'll defer to them.
So they say city and you say them, but okay, we'll get.
I would say you need to talk to DOT. I think DOT was the one that really worked with us because we are Department of Transportation and LA DOT is similar. So they would understand the situation, why they lower the speed limit. But what I can tell you is that they did put in that request. We did say, do we want to have a different setting in City of LA? They did put in the request. No, they want to match the corridor speed limit. So you need to start with DOT. And I think EMD will probably also weigh in because they're the one that coordinating. And as you know, CHP is helping out with the law enforcement up on the hill, which is kind of unusual. But we're here to serve the community. So as long as all the public agency are in agreement, we have no reason to not follow the recommendation from the city. So.
Hey, Miriam, can I just add in one item topically?
Yeah. I was
that
going to
my
say
hands up.
Sam and then Larry. I don't know if Sam's listening. Larry, let's see. He's had his hand up for a while, but he's in the car.
I'm here.
Oh, you want to ask or yeah? Okay. So
I have something for you. Thanks. First of all, it was a follow-up to earlier, but I want to thank the LAPD and thank Brian and the team. We had what I want to thank about it is the collaboration between the LAPD and the different security teams that have been hired as private entities. So an alarm at a home went off the other day. It was set off by one of our private companies that was checking the doors. And because the alarm went off, the LAPD responded with 5 cars. And they did a great job to check the area because there was a lot of activity and a big cooperation between all of the different private security services that were all there for that check. And it was really great because the woman was out of town and everybody was working together to make sure that the area was safe and controlled and the response time was wonderful. So kudos need to go out when kudos are deserved. And then one comment on the PCH lanes and cones that are east of Sunset. When you're down basically east of Chautauqua, where the lanes start to come in, that's in Santa Monica, they are still doing work on the slope in Santa Monica. They are cutting out dead vegetation and removing a lot of stuff that could be a fire hazard. So Santa Monica has been working on their slope, which has closed the lanes down from as far as the tunnel because they're trying to work on slope success in Santa Monica. So there's a couple updates for you, Marianne.
Very helpful. Thank you. Yes, and I did see that some of the lane closures are because of the remediation on the mountain. So I appreciate that. Larry.
Hey, thank you. And thank you, everybody in LAPD and all the other agencies, CHP and everybody. Just collaborative effort has been incredible. And a lot of the communities come back saying that seeing you out there and keeping an eye on the community is just definitely giving that added sense of security. And I was leaning into the other conversation that we had about the speed limit, trying to work with that, John, and what can be done on PCH. I'm not sure if Colonel Palzini was able to mention it, but Temescal has been repaved and should be opening at the end of the month. That's what the expectation is. It should have the new lines in place. So that might also help ease some of the burden on the traffic flow, and also maybe lean towards more credence that in the absence of work being done as a safety feature like Santa Monica, the hillside and the debris removal from the hill, perhaps that information letting them know can help change those regulations and get us back to that 35. So I'm not sure if you were all, did he mention that about the
He
paving?
did.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but thank you. No, that's great. We
Late.
appreciate it. Thank
But
you.
yeah,
He
let's
said,
be there.
yeah, he said by early August.
And do we know if the lower portion of Temescal, that area that had some obviously underground water continuance, floods and leaks, was that being repaired through this?
Well,
No one seems
I don't
seems
know.
to be answering that question, and
Right.
that's a big problem because we kept repairing
yeah,
that portion of the canyon, and for years it was closed because the repairs weren't sufficient.
yeah.
And
So
no
people
one's really been able to put a drop a pin on that.
Yeah, they've told us that so Army Corps has told us that they're remediating the portion of the road that they used. And the last time we got an update from them, they said they would only be sort of, so the quote was they were going to remediate PCH and put it back to where it was when they found it, and that they generally basically had only been using the upper portion, or I guess the middle portion of Temescal. They were not going to fix the water leakage. But that might have changed since then, because I actually asked the council member a couple of weeks ago, and she seemed to tell me that it would be repaired. But Court, why don't we chase that? Because that's kind of an important thing for us to.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I guess everybody on the call, I think we're just looking for this kind of to be wrapped up by the end of August, beginning September. You know, my concerns are for the schools and the traffic flow going up to Sunset and into the neighborhoods being a little more ease of flow for parents and buses, or however we're going to schedule mass transportation. And so, you know, lanes being closed if there is not work being done seems superfluous. But yeah, there is slope clearage being done currently down in Santa Monica against PCH. So I'm just hoping that's all wrapped up by, you know, the end of August.
Yeah. Let me see if John Yang is not. Nope, he's not. Okay. I don't know, Colonel Sturgis or Captain Gabaldon, John Yang. Okay, have you guys heard what the Army Corps is going to do with the bottom portion of Temescal? I mean, they had told us that they were not going to fix the water leakage, but I don't know if that has changed. And obviously, Temescal Canyon Road isn't going to be usable until that water leakage is fixed.
That's in the city of LA jurisdiction. I don't think Army Corps will fix it, but we need to work with the city. It's in cities right away, so that's something need to be addressed with the city.
Is that an LADOT thing too, John?
No. I think it's either public.
Like council office
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. Well, it's not council. It's their public work, so yeah. So I mean, we will mention it in our executive meeting with them to see who's going to fix it. But I know it's a standing issue. But as you know, USACE's been using that stretch of the roadway for months. I don't think they would have the capacity to fix it, but it's a hydraulic issue, so they need to look at it and fix it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So you'll mention it in your executive meetings. I'll reach out to Vahid, who's the public works person that's been in touch with the community. Let's see if we can get some traction on that. Thank you. All right, Lou Kamer just entered the meeting. I don't know if he wants to talk about Chautauqua, but for my part, I thank you all. Thank you for coming. Thanks for all the information you've shared. And I'm, as is everyone else, Captain Gabaldon, grateful for all that LAPD is doing. Officer Sturgis, thank you, and CHP for being here and helping LAPD. Really, I think we're okay, largely because you guys have been around, and we really appreciate it. I'm sure we don't have an opportunity to tell it to you every day, but we do. I guess we could email you at palisades@online.org?
.org.
Palisades@online.org for tips and thanks.
Thank you, Marianne, for all the work you've been helping us out with. Really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Lou's here. I'm going to give him the floor. Also, Captain Gabaldon and everyone, I was going to say there's going to be a ribbon cutting for the stop-in station on Sunday, the 27th. The mayor is coming. Hopefully the council member is coming. I think it's from 10 to noon. Hopefully we can get that desk in there by then. And B, maybe you can move roll call over to the stop-in station on the 27th at 10 a.m. and we'll see you there on that day. And then Lou, take it away. Nope.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
In addition to just being a community member, I'm also the transportation advisor for the Pacific Palisades Community Council. And as you know, as everybody knows, Chautauqua and PCH, that entire intersection area is a mess and always has been. John Yang, has anything been moved along either with Osama or with Mr. Haber about either our ideas to make that more efficient and safer?
We know that's a problem area with so many intersections.
And also, is there anything in place fix for maintenance?
We
Go
know
ahead
that's a
again. I'm
spot area.
sorry.
Sorry, John. Let's see. I will text Lou and tell him that his audio is lagging, but go ahead and answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand that's a problem area, and it is something that Lee has to handle with LADOT because how the configuration for the intersection, how it comes in. There could be improvement, but then we also need to know the traffic volume coming from both Chautauqua and Trotta and all that. So it's something that we will continue to look at, but again, I would suggest work with Lupe in LADOT because it is serving the community. It is serving City of LA. For us, our priority is making sure PCH will flow, and that's why it's a joint effort. So I would let Lee know, and then I would draft an email to Lupe and to let him know the request from you guys, and then so he can start from there. Okay.
This is a request that has been in place for over a year now. This is multiple requests have gone, and none of them have been responded to. Any traffic studies that we wanted to bring in or possible proposals that we wanted to come in that are based on safety, because number one for us is safety. Second is efficiency of both LA roads and of CalTrans roads, of course. But we would like more of a collaborative effort since any of the requests that we've had have gone unanswered. And given that the intersection from Chautauqua to PCH South is currently in disrepair because the bollards are down, the flags are down, and there are numerous collisions and chance for collisions, I would appreciate a more active response.
We'll definitely address with our operation folks, especially if you say there's maintenance issue that we can do right now. We definitely will do it now because we do have a contract there. But if you can summarize it, give it to Lee, he probably can best address it. And I'm sure you've been working with him. But again, I'm with the construction division, so we're executing the contract. So
yes,
whatever we can do before we leave, we definitely will do it. And then I think, I'm not punting, but I just want to make sure that the people who's doing the planning and design and also research for operation, they need to get on this real quick. So, okay.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll copy you on our current email thread.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to just put a marker in time. I was PPCC chair, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, appointed Lou as the transportation chair. And I think he started talking about making PCH and Chautauqua, better, improved since then. But I want to also make note of something you just said, John. You said that you're waiting to see what kind of traffic or what kind of volume demand transpires at that intersection. And famously, it's like a four-way intersection. There's West Channel, there's Chautauqua, there's Entrada, which is just a few feet up, and then there's PCH going a couple of different ways. So we appreciate that it's a difficult intersection, but given the fact that we have like a period of construction coming around the corner, and Chautauqua might be used for heavy trucks going up or down, is that going to impact? I mean, the last 3 years we've been asking you to fix that intersection for just residents and ordinary cars. Now as a community, we're probably looking at that intersection to carry a lot more load, especially with construction coming. Are you guys kind of waiting to see what happens, or is there a plan in place, or maybe some AI modeling that might show you what that intersection is going to need to accommodate in the years ahead or months ahead?
What you're describing is a resource that probably nobody has right now, because we have dedicated tremendously past 6 months. I have almost like 20 contracts along this route right now, including SR 27. Yes, it sounds reactive, but be honest with you, we were surprised at the speed of PCH right now. Be honest with you, we thought the traffic will be really worse than this, but I think unfortunately, due to the losses of so many houses, the volume the traffic pattern has drastically changed. And just like you point out, you might have more heavy traffic coming in and out, and we just need to accommodate it, because if we start restricting heavy trucks, then you're going to say, hey, how my contractor or my whole truck's going to get to the destination, which is importantly rebuilding the community. So these are the questions. These are very good questions, but to be honest with you, we're not driving this, because, as you know, the rebuild effort has to come from the property owner themselves. So it has to be reactive, because we're not like going out there saying, I'm going to rebuild 5,000 houses here. It's basically has to be initiated by the homeowner. So
John, I think of what Miriam is saying is that when you go down south off Chautauqua, heading southwest on Chautauqua, turning left onto Pacific Coast Highway, you are literally shoved into an incredibly narrow lane that has concrete barriers on one side and bollards on the other. No construction truck is physically able to get through this lane without knocking over bollards. And that's the reason why right now so many of them are broken or torn down. And this has been a problem ongoing for years. So I hear you saying you need to be reactive, but I don't think that's the correct answer. I'm trying to be kind here, but being reactive to knowing we're going to have hundreds of huge trucks coming down Chautauqua, leaving every afternoon to go either get materials or leave the neighborhood in the afternoons, trying to get through this very small lane and get very backed up because of how narrow it is. Being reactive to that doesn't seem to be the right answer.
Well, the reactive doesn't mean that we're passive. I think you kind of misunderstood what I said.
Maybe I did. I'm sorry about that.
I'm looking at exactly what you're talking about. That bollards is exactly keeping you safe right now. And I would suggest actually a concrete barrier, because that's a bare little plastic thing keeping you away from going head on with the northbound traffic, because that's what's happening on PCH is a lot of head-ons. And
correct.
I agree with you. Bollard's not going to cut it. We might have to look at it and look at maybe we need to get some right away and get barrier-ins or whatever, or even taking a lane just to make sure you guys have a safer travel. This is a big project I'm looking at right now. Yep. And I'm not even sure I can do it with my emergency work, but I do need things work much faster.
Barriers. I think the K rails or barriers are a great idea. I think bollards are not the answer, but I think you have to give a wider lane for these trucks, because they get very backed up and nervous going through what is undeniably an incredibly small passage right now, and maybe even take another lane off PCH going south. There's some way being able to manage that, so when the light does turn green, these guys can actually get out with some kind of efficiency.
That's what I'm looking at. Is we probably need to sacrifice some operation efficiency just to make this happen due to safety. And trust me, I'm not the expert of this, but I'm just looking at it. There's room for improvement, but there's a lot of discussion, because we cannot go over to the beach and take property. So there's only limited space on the pavement, and this is a huge discussion needed. Was actually probably go through the council district, and everybody has to reach agreement, because when we take a lane out of southbound PCH, that's a lot of sacrifice for the traveling public. So
John, I originally had said I had floated this idea of AI modeling. I actually called one of the foundations that's pretty active in the Palisades with some money, and I asked them if they could do it. So Court's point is that those bollards are coming down because those trucks are too fat to get through that lane. And maybe they're not theoretically too fat if you were to measure them, but coming down PCH and trying to make it into that lane, they're knocking over the bollards. If that was to be cement, they would just, drive right into the cement. That wouldn't work. So
no, but it would be much wider, just like you said. Yeah, that would
was
look
going to
like
be my question. Sorry, John, I don't want to cut you off. Just want to say, would it help if we were to get some AI modeling to show what it's going to look like as construction picks up? Because maybe, and I'm not saying this is a great idea, I'm just thinking out loud, but maybe Chautauqua can't be an out road for trucks. Maybe they can go in the morning that way, but maybe coming out has to be either Sunset or Temescal. Because
that's smart, Miriam. I think Temescal needs to be the route, right? Because it's so big by comparison.
Right. I mean, and that's why I say AI modeling. I don't know how many people are going to start to repopulate or live in the Palisades or come in to look over their construction or their rebuild or whatever. But if there are going to be more ordinary, like civilian cars using Chautauqua to go in and out, and every afternoon you've got, I don't know how many trucks trying to get out and slowing down because they don't want to hit the cement or the bollards, you might slow things down. So just something to think about. And again, I'm asking some of you guys on this call, as well as you, John, is there money out there for AI modeling? Is that helpful for us to figure out what these roads are going to look like?
I don't think going AI will be worthwhile. I think this is a safety issue we can look at. The narrow width is an issue. Truck limitation, if you guys agree, it's a good idea. I would agree to use Temascal, but then again, this will impact your community. So this has to go through LADOT, including getting trucks on city.
Of course.
I'm talking out of turn. This is not my area.
Yes, John, I understand this is not your area, and I understand that we do not want to limit traffic efficiency on PCH. The proposal that I've sent for review and for simulation is that we would simply move there is a left-hand turn signal from PCH southbound just north of Chautauqua that lets you go to West Channel or up Chautauqua. What we're proposing is to look at putting a full stop or a 2-lane stop on at that spot as well, and then removing the gauntlet, removing the center barrier, and making 2 lanes travelable from Chautauqua down. So it is the desire path. It's what's happening right now. It is unfortunately causing safety issues because of the merging in the middle of PCH. So that's a possibility that we would have CalTrans take a look at. It is something that I will bring up with Lee and Osama and others to see. But to say that this is, and I understand your focus right now is emergency, but this is a problem that has existed a long time ago, and it's going to continue
It's
to
always hard
exist.
for me to believe that they have a NBA team.
Yes, it is hard to believe they have an NBA team, but
yeah, that was Sam, and I think he had his hand up, but I don't think I think he's on mute because he had his hand up. Lou, are you good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think,
and I know you have a drawing that shows all of this, so maybe, send that back around.
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully we can get a little more focus on it, because there's too much money spent on settlements with the state because of that intersection. And there's too much of a risk and a threat for those who drive.
Yeah, and frankly, that intersection is going to be a very important part of our lives as we begin to rebuild, because Chautauqua is going to be used by delivery companies all day, every day. And if it gets backed up, we're going to have trouble rebuilding the Palisades. People, I'm told, will walk off the job if it takes them more than 2 hours to get up or get down. So we're going to have to deal with this intersection. All right, Sam, sorry to keep you waiting. and let me unmute you. Sam, you had your hand up. Did you want to say something? And I also want to say Marianne Ansley from the mayor's office is now on the call. Hi, Marianne. So congratulations to your promotion, everyone. Marianne is no longer the West Side Field Deputy for the mayor. She is now the lead recovery officer for Pacific Palisades for the mayor's office. So welcome, Marianne.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for sending me this link. I'm just listening in, getting settled in my new role. The official title is Deputy Director Recovery and Community Engagement, and just really excited to be able to, take a deeper dive into the community and assist how I can and be that, hopefully impactful and effective liaison between all the departments. So I just got this link, so I'm listening in, and I know Miriam will connect, and happy to connect with everyone individually. So
I'll recap the whole meeting for you because very good information was changed.
Okay.
John, I have a question. Is Marianne in those meetings of yours? Or will she be soon? Because Marianne, we're talking about the intersection of Chautauqua, West Channel Road and PCH, which has always been kind of a choke point, but it's going to be worse as the reconstruction is underway because we think ordinary people as well as trucks and heavy machinery are going to be using it. It's got all sorts of issues. So
okay.
I think there's going to be some focus on it. I feel safe to say. Will you be joining those meetings that CalTrans and the city and LADOT convene to talk about kind of resolving some of the choke points there?
I'm sure there will be a host of meetings that I'll be joining. I don't know if it'll be regularly, but we're still getting all of that situated. There's a lot going on across the whole recovery rebuild. And as we get AECOM in the mix, that'll be a big part of what I'll be doing as well. Okay. But I'm happy to join, so I can be as knowledgeable about everything as it relates to the rebuild as possible.
Yeah, so you can be our point of contact. Lou can bring you up to speed on some of the stuff there. And John, I know this has been an ongoing conversation. I do not think that there's any magic. I don't think there's pixie dust to solve it, but I know we're going to be dealing with that intersection for years to come. So just to continue the conversation. All right, Colonel Sturgis, Officer Sturgis, anything else? You see that intersection 24/7. If you have anything to add, I think we're probably going to wrap up soon.
I have nothing to add at this time. Lieutenant Geller would probably be more familiar with that. So which intersection is it again?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind having him sound off on that. It's the Chautauqua PCH West Channel Road intersection. Is that right, John? Is there another street you throw in there?
No. I mean, if you drive PCH, you know where the trouble spot is. It's very apparent. But I'm just gonna say you can strike whatever I said. I don't represent Lee and their efforts here. I would definitely put in a quick notice to him that if you want us to solve it before the emergency project ends, we need to have a plan. Okay. And that's something seems like it's what community wants. I will brief my district director, will make it a top priority. That's all I want.
Excellent. Thank you. And John, you said EMD has a hand in this?
Yeah, because they were the one coordinating. Actually, like I said, this is very unorthodox, and CHP can chime in. I mean, they're venturing into your city limit with a lot of resource promised by the governor's office, and it's kind of like a joint approach right now. So I would say EMD has something to do with it because they were the one dictating where the checkpoint's gonna be, and I don't even know whether they have checkpoints or not. Probably not right now. So.
They don't, but Marianne, if you'll bring EMD into this conversation, I know that's Carol Parks's department, but if you bring EMD into the conversation, this intersection is going to be pivotal because it'll be used. It's the first point of entry into the Palisades from PCH, and so it will be used by heavy machinery and trucks. I'm sure of it. So we should really solve this. Okay.
And I'd love Lou. If you indicated it may be great to talk to Lou, so maybe we can schedule a separate call. Yep. That would be great.
Yep.
Definitely.
You guys can connect. I can connect you. Sounds great. All right. Mindful of time. It's 10:40. I thank you all for coming. Very, very productive call. Thanks for making the time, John Yang and Officer Sturgis. And I will see you all soon. I'll recap the call for the community and we'll do this again. Not next Thursday because LAPD has a funeral to go to, but the Thursday after that. Thank you all.
Great seeing you all.
Thank you, Miriam. Way to go.
Thank you,
See
Larry.
you later.
Good to see
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye, everyone.